Greetings, my movie geeks. The DC movie universe, whatever it's called now, has had its ups and downs since Man of Steel back in 2012. But one consistently good and entertaining part of the DCEU was the inclusion of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Then, in 2017, Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman hit theatres and became a massive success, which garnered a sequel. Wonder Woman 1984 has finally been released after several months of postponement, and it is as entertaining as the first. Due to Wonder Woman 1984 release schedule, this will have very minor spoilers because, our friends over the pond won't be getting it until December 25th. Billed as a natural continuation of Diana Prince's story, it does just that, linking what we saw in Wonder Woman to where she is in Batman v Superman, quite seamlessly. It's 60 years since the death of Steve Trevor, and she hasn't totally moved past it. Diana is working at the Smithsonian, and it becomes clear that she hasn't made any personal relationships since then. There's a nice little nod to Etta Candy in a blink and you'll miss it shot, but from the outset, Diana is alone. It's quite nice to have a DC film set in a real city. The set pieces are all extremely well done, with some brilliantly choreographed fight sequences. It's also nice to see a DC superhero actually saving bystanders and going out of their way to save bystanders for once. Diana's new co-worker, Barbara Ann Minerva, is played by Kristen Wiig and comes across as a downtrodden and ignored woman who has all the hallmarks of a villain. We're also introduced to Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, a TV personality and oil baron who epitomises the greed and excess of the 1980s. Pascal plays the antagonist extremely well, giving a great and fun performance that could outshine most villains in the DCEU, as actually being more than just a grey, shouty bad guy. The way Lord is written and acted makes us feel for him, and at points you want him to succeed. He's funny and compelling character, but his reasons are a little thin on the ground. There are a few flashbacks, but these again don't fully go to explain the reasons he's doing what he's doing. Wiig's cheetah, on the other hand, goes the tried and tested route of friend to enemy that's been done before. Her motivations are clear from the outset, and shown on screen. She is ignored by everyone and feels jealousy towards what she perceives Diana has. As a villain, she is relatable, as everyone will have at least one memory of feeling invisible. The way in which Minerva becomes Cheetah is very well done, keeping the pace slow and not just throwing the reveal away. It shows restraint on the filmmakers and gives us a change from what we've seen before in comic book movies. If the characterization of the villains needed anything, it's a little more time to grow. Gal Gadot is so damn good as Wonder Woman. Again, she's a breath of fresh air in the male-dominated superhero genre. Diana is secretly saving people without bringing real harm to the bad guys. The arc in this story is like that of the first, but this time Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, is the fish out of water. But it's not done to the effect as the first film, having the funniest moments appear actually in the trailer. The 1980s aesthetic, although highlighted in Lord's demeanour and focused on in the first act, it does seem to disappear. They highlight the clothing and some aspects of 1980s culture, but strangely, it isn't as in your face as other films or TV series that we could name. Emotional Heart is the love story between Diana and Steve. It's executed brilliantly. Again, tying into what we saw in Batman v Superman and Justice League, if that is still canon. Wonder Woman 1984 brings more comic book aspects to the screen and does it in a way that stops them from being slightly silly. We see Wonder Woman brandish her tiara, for instance, that works like a boomerang. Or should it be a batarang? The final act begins with the usual DCEU dark grey-blue colour scheme, but quickly changes when we see what Lord is actually doing. The final emotional punch is done well, if a little on the nose, and we realise why Wonder Woman is one of the best superheroes around in the DCEU. It's clear that Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at the forefront of the DCEU, Batman having been skewed off into his own universe, and Superman being nowhere to be seen. But this film raises some questions as to where the DCEU is going. There are several scenes that link back to the previous films in the larger DCEU. There's a nice nod to Superman in Man of Steel, which I absolutely loved. There's also another musical cue to Batman v Superman in the third act, which is unmissable. And strangely, what stuck out to me was a scene which, again, I loved, that uses a sample from the film Sunshine. Hans Zimmer returns to the DCEU with a more low-key soundtrack that his previous installments were. And sadly, I feel the additions of the music mentioned above are actually the standout ones. Where we go from here is anyone's guess, but what I do know is we will be seeing a Wonder Woman in it for a third installment. I was lucky enough to be able to see the movie in a cinema, and I know that there are a lot of people who can't. But if you can, and you can protect yourself from COVID, I would urge everyone to see it in the cinema. It was great to be back, and we saw the film at a primetime viewing of 7:30. But sadly, we were 2 of only 6 people in the cinema, and it was our largest cinema, which is quite sad. Watching the movie, I kept thinking to myself how good this experience is, and that I felt that it would be unmemorable if I was to watch it on TV. But watch it wherever you're going to watch it, and I reckon you'll have fun with it. Wonder Woman 1984 is a great follow-up to the character, and the villains are good, but could have used a little bit more identifiable motivation. I enjoyed this, and now I look forward to Patty Jenkins taking on Rogue Squadron. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Please like, share, and subscribe, because we like to talk about films here. And thank you for watching. You can check out my Christmas reviews, which are going up every Wednesday, and then more movies after that.